How did you even get into the business? Was this something that you wanted to do as a casting director, or did you fall into it?
I was a student at Loyola Marymount, and I was majoring by accident in communication arts, which I found out was film and television production after I got in it. Don't ask. And right. And while I was in the course, in my junior year, we had a Black History Festival that I was in charge of, and I read an article the night before about a woman named Hattie Hayes, who was the first African-American casting director ever. And on impulse, I invited her to come be on the panel. And at that time, I knew I wanted to work in the industry behind the camera, but I didn't know what the jobs were. I was just having fun, like being a boom operator. And when she came and spoke, I fell in love. It was like I have never looked back. I knew that's what I wanted to do. And so I started my own casting company in school so that I could finish. And I cast student films. And when I graduated, they gave me an office and a phone and a work-study budget, and I hired students to work for me while I came out and started from the ground up, working for Reuben Cannon as an intern, and going all the way up. And I saw Pt.2 play on Vermont.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Mr. Singleton, you?
I'll keep it short. I think you can just talk. Can I talk? I think you can just talk, John. I'm from Los Angeles. I always wanted to be in the film business. I always wanted to be in the film business. I grew up next to a drive-in theater. Those of you who are really from LA know LA, remember the Century Drive-In on Century Boulevard. I had an apartment building right next to it. I used to watch movies all the time. So movies saved me from delinquency. And I ended up going to USC Film School and working hard. I interned for Reuben Cannon as well. I interned for a whole lot of people. And then I got a chance and I made voice for her. I'm trying to keep it short so we can get on to the other questions. But that's what happened. I went to film school for 4 years and then I ended up making my first film.
Similar story for a lot of actors and actresses. You know, I was doing it in elementary school, I was doing it in junior high school, and continued through high school and went to California Institute of the Arts and studied it in college, and got a degree in acting, which doesn't mean anything, but I haven't. It's funny because I've worked with everybody up here on the stage at one point or other. John in Rosewood, I did a commercial that Chemin cast, a co-commercial that actually stepped in and got my dance on it. Worked with Taraji and Talk to Me, and Marla and I worked together on Meteor Man many years ago. But my first start actually as a professional actor was I brought a friend to meet a casting director because he got a part on this TV series Fame, and he needed an agent, and the casting director's sister was an agent, and I met her and she said, oh, okay, I'll start working with you. And it was really that kind of fell out of a tree and just started to get out there. So when people ask me, well, what should I do? I was like, well, you should get a friend who's casting. And then there you go.
And there you have it. Thank you. Good night.
But that's it, just kind of, but I took it very seriously, I studied it all since I was, from Templeton to Rap all the way to when I finally got to school. Studied at CalArts and did a lot of theater. And I did a lot of theater around this country before I did any film or TV work. I worked at the Guthrie, and I worked at the Mixed Blood Theater in Minneapolis, and at the Goodman, and at the Public. I just really wanted to make sure that I have my chops together. Amy and Kuno and I were in rep together at the Guthrie Theater. Hi, Amy. So there it is. That's my long-winded story.
That's one of those things that, Don's story, I think, shines the light on being prepared. A lot of us come out here and you go, I will be on TV. That's it. And especially in the age of YouTube now, with anyone with a flip cam and an idea, and a lot of geniuses pull it off, but there are oftentimes more people that just go, well, it's easy. You guys make movies, I'll make a movie too. And there's a difference between drive and being prepared and putting in the work. I think that's pretty inspirational as well. So thank you.
Okay, my story's kind of odd. I'll take you back to high school. I auditioned for this school called Duke Ellington School of the Arts in D.C. Yeah, not so much because they didn't accept me. Yeah, so I thought I was going to do something else with my life. So I was like, what sounds like I can make a lot of money? Electrical engineering. Hey, that sounds like I'll be rich. Well, you got to know math and a lot of it. And what I found out was that I'm not mathematically wired because I failed pre-calculus, which, you know, that means you have no career. It's all math, and pre-calc is what preps you for all of that. So anyway, I ended up flunking out of North Carolina A&T. Well, I didn't flunk out, I just failed math. So I was like, I can't do this. And so I called my dad and cried, and he was like, well, okay, I told you you should have been an actor. I don't know why you went down there. Now you owe me $7,000. Come back up here and do what you're supposed to do. So I went back to DC and I auditioned for Howard University. And that's where I studied, and I immersed myself in learning everything I could about the craft. I was always on the stage. I don't remember ever going to a, homecoming. I went to a homecoming after I became Taraji P. Henson, and they invited me back, and I was like, oh, so this is what y'all was doing. But, so yeah, I just immersed myself in it, and then when I started seeing people that walk the same halls as I did go off and make it, I was like, wow, I could really do something with this. Then I got knocked up, and no, that was my movie. Yeah, it was the movie of my life. Yeah. So, but thank God my son ended up being the best part of my life, because when I moved out here, not only was I prepared, I was focused. Because I couldn't run the streets, I couldn't club, I couldn't party, I was home being mama. And focused, laser being focused. And you know, I didn't come out here, I had $700 in my pocket, I didn't know what the hell was going to happen. Oh, sorry babies. Sorry. So I, moved out here, and it wasn't until I met my manager, Vincent Cerencione, who also manages Halle Berry. And he just knew exactly what to do with me. He sent me on an audition for the head of casting at Warner Brothers, and that next week I went in for Monica Spahn, and then I was on Sister Sister, and then, you know, the ball kept rolling. But I wasn't a working actor until, not even Baby Boy John. I had to go back to substitute teaching because it wasn't enough men to pay me. So anyway, I guess after Baby Boy, I booked a show called The Division, and that's when I was able to not have to wait tables or sit behind a computer. And I guess it was all good because I got paid something. That's it.
Ms. Marla?
Well, I was born in Chicago. I started working for United Airlines. And I knew that I did not want to retire from United. I don't want to retire from anything. I want to go like this. In motion. So I moved to Detroit, and I transferred with United Airlines. I was running from my husband. I didn't look as if he was chasing me, but I was running. So I packed my children up and my dog Cato, and I made the moving company come to my house and get the furniture. I mean, I made them let me bring it to them. They usually want to come to your house, but I didn't want anybody to see them. So I talked them into letting me bring the furniture there. So we did that. And United because I was an employee, I had air freight. So I was able to move my things out, and I packed everything up in the station wagon, including the dog. So the neighbors, of course, told my husband, well, she couldn't be far because she had the dog, and she had But we went straight to the airline. I sold the car to a friend, and the dog went in the kennel, and we got on the flight, and we were in LA.
So to give us a, man, you got warrants. So to give us a rough timeline, what age is this right now? So you had.
I can only say to you, I'm 30 now.
Yes, ma'am.
You have to figure it out, and don't tell me.
Yes, ma'am. Gotcha.
So we got to LA, and see, when you make one step, God will make two.
Come on.
That's right.
That's what we have to understand. You can't decide who, what, and where you're going to be. You just get yourself prepared, be in motion, make your step, and you keep the faith. I broke my foot last year, and suddenly I was just laying in the bed looking at TV all the time. I wasn't doing anything else. I was not ready to work. I didn't know I wasn't ready to work. I thought it was because of my foot. And then it dawned on me, I still want to work. I used to look at the TV and say, I'm going to do that show. Thank you. I've been talking to God. I said, I want to do that show. Thank you. And I looked, and ER called me. And then a Cold Case called me. Those were two of the shows I was watching. And somehow you get along and you forget that. You forget what was working for you. So now I said, I was talking to a lady who's a clairvoyant, and she said, you have guardian angels, but you have to give them something to do. I said, oh, this is like new information. So I said, okay, I'm going to vote. She said, well, act like it. So I said, okay. So I got up, first of all, and I started walking. And I started putting my sights on, I'm going to work. And suddenly I'm getting calls. Not big calls, but calls, you know. And because you can't decide what, when, and where, that's not your job. Your job is to keep the faith and keep moving. You know, we think that other people are in charge, but they say, you gotta know somebody. Well, do you know God?